This is back roads of Illinois server to farmers and ranchers in central Illinois and the Midwest. This is back road of Illinois server to farmers and ranchers in central Illinois and the Midwest. We were glad you're here on a Wednesday afternoon. I'm Cesar Delgado on today. The technical buying is great for the current demand, however, the beans have a conversation about updating on China's trade deficit for right now. What is the importance for handling multiple calls to make purchases of the beans? We were joining with Bill Harvtape from 8-4 for Hedge in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I'm going to talk about the FA and foreign broadcasting with jessilny for W.I.T.Y in Danville, Illinois, nearby Champaign area. This been back roads of Illinois today. The technical buying is great for the current demand, however, the beans have a conversation about updating on China's trade deficit for right now. What is the importance for handling multiple calls to make purchases of the beans? We were joining with Bill Harvtape from 8-4 for Hedge in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Hey, Bill, how are you in Iowa?
Good, Caesar. Everything's good in Iowa.
The technical buying is great for Bill. What is your mind about the trade dilemma to China? Could we start with these things for our audience?
Yeah, the soybean trade is extremely important, Caesar. China, as we know, up to this point in this year, has not purchased any U.S. beans. Actually, their last purchase of U.S. beans was back in May of 2015, so it's been a long time. China last year, at this stage of the game, had already taken 12.3 million tons of U.S. beans. So far this year on the scoreboard, we've got a 0. If the USDA is going to meet their 1.685 billion bushel export target this year, China is going to have to be a participant. China moved to buy some beans overnight ahead of this meeting with President Trump in Korea here today and tomorrow. So kind of a good token gesture, good faith gesture to get some beans on the books at the start of this meeting. So that's a good sign. That sale amounts to 180,000 tons. It's the equivalent of about 6.6 million bushels. So it's a far cry from the 8 or 10 million tons that we need them to buy, but 180,000 is a start. Just to give some perspective, as I said, 2016, or you may remember 2016 was our biggest year of exports. That year, the U.S. exported 2.174 billion bushels of soybeans. Of that, China took 1.3 billion bushels of that 2.1. So they're an extremely important participant in the U.S. export market.
When are they going to be meeting with these two leaders in South Korea for this week? Could we meet at our standard shipping to China?
Yeah, if they can make some headway in these meetings in South Korea, and like I said, to meet the USDA's target, we think that China's going to need to purchase anywhere between 8 and 10 million tons to meet the USDA's 1.685. Year to date, export inspections, soybeans leaving the United States are 37% below where they were a year ago. And we're going to need China in order to get caught up and get to where we need to be to meet the USDA's almost 1.7 billion bushel target for the entire year.
Do you think about the impact of the Argentinian beef bill?
Yeah, we're a little skeptical that Argentina can really step up and provide the meat to significantly reduce the price of meat on the wholesale and the retail level. We do have trade tariffs against Brazil. Brazil's got the potential to actually provide the volume that we would need to bring prices down. But because of tariffs and some other trade tensions with Brazil, we're just not quite there yet. Uh, Argentina would help. Every little bit's going to help. But of course, I'm not sure President Trump's making a whole lot of friends in the cattle industry right now.
What is your concern about supply and demand for the beef markets?
Yeah, well, supply is tight. I see Smithfield Foods had their quarterly meeting yesterday. The CEO said he did not believe that there were significant steps being taken in the U.S. over the next 18 months to increase the domestic supply of beef. If that's true, and there seems to be some indications that there is some expansion going on, but it maybe isn't fast enough. And of course, we all know by the time a cattleman makes a decision to expand the herd, you're 18 months before you've got supply hitting the market. So it's a long cycle. And I continue to be concerned that the supply of beef is going to be tight unless we can figure out a way to bring in some imports.
How is the cash cattle side without the government today?
Yeah, from what we're hearing out in the country, 230 seems to be the live market. I think cattle are offered at 230 to 232. In the South, the Corn Belt's been a little bit of a discount here lately. Cattle offered 228 to 230. And then there's been some trade between 356 and 358 in the dress market in the North, but that's significantly below where we were a week ago on the cash market, as this futures market, as we all know, has come down pretty hard. It's bouncing back here on Wednesday, but it's going to be interesting to see how this market acts over the next couple of weeks. I think we've done some significant technical damage on these cattle charts, and I think bounces are going to be sold into by hedgers.
Of course. What is your final thoughts about the fundamentals with the grains markets for right now?
Well, we've had a nice bounce. Of course, we missed out on an October supply and demand report in the grains. We may be on track to miss out on a November supply and demand report. So we're kind of in an information gap here. I do believe it's a good corn crop. A lot of guys are saying it's probably not as good as the last number that the USDA gave us back on the September report. Yields probably aren't quite as good and they need to come down a little bit. But at the same time, the corn market's bounced 40 cents. And we filled a gap that we left from 4th of July here a couple of days ago. As a corn seller that's maybe a little bit underpriced, I would take advantage of this 40-cent bounce and look for some ways to get some corn priced. I also, as a corn grower, might look out to the 2026 new crop. On 2026 new crop corn, we're flirting around the 465 area. There's some strategies out there where you could maybe get a 450 put in place, completely finance that put by selling a 480 or a 490 call. Do that on the short dated options that gets you out to the end of April. It covers you should trade talks fall through, this market tumbles lower. Brazil and Argentina have a huge crop. It kind of protects that 450 level, which would keep a lot of guys out of trouble. But then those expire in the end of April and leave you back opened up again in case we get some sort of weather-related rally out into next summer where you'd have an opportunity to sell at a better price.
What about the technicals buying in the beans markets before we go?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned earlier, we are into multi-month highs. That's when good markets do that, the technical buyers feel good about adding to positions. The one thing I'm worried about on the soybean rally is open interest, or the amount of contracts that are held open in the total soybean complex, all the months combined over the last week. On this rally, open interest has declined 66,000 contracts. So that's a fairly significant decline in open interest. It's an indicator that the aggressive buyers over the last week have been anxious to close out their short positions. Usually, from a technical perspective, a good, strong move higher on declining open interest isn't what you want to see. It's not the most healthy move in the world. So while the charts look good, the market acts good, just be very aware that this rally has been driven by sharply declining open interest.
Thanks, Bill. Bill Harvtape from 8-4. Thanks, Bill. I enjoyed our conversation for today.
Thank you, Caesar. Have a good week.
Bill Harvtape from 8-4 for hedge. I'm going to talk about the FA and farm broadcasting with jessilny for W.I.T.Y in Danville, Illinois, nearby Champaign area. Hey, jessilny, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Caesar?
I'm good.
Good.
Jessilny, let's start with our conversation about your experience with W.I.T.Y. How did you become a farm broadcaster for Central Illinois?
Yes, so I was the intern here at WITY this past summer, which was an amazing opportunity. So I kind of got into this job primarily because I just needed a job that would help with my communication. I'm currently enrolled in college in a marketing degree because in my future I will be a real estate agent. And, I was thinking to myself, what can guide me to help me be successful in the real estate business because it is very harsh. Um, and I thought radio. So, long story short, my dad knows Dave here at WITY and Chad, and here I am. So it's kind of like a good communication between my dad and Chad and Dave, and we got everything worked out. And here I am. I was the summer intern, and it was great.
Are you a member of the NFB?
Yes, I am. Because I was the summer intern here for the NAFB scholarship.
Can you tell our audience about your experience and your time in the FFA?
Yes. So I was in FFA all 4 years of high school. I was the sentinel for my chapter, and I was also the vice president, and I was the president as well, my senior year. I competed in many different CDEs for FFA. My favorite was obviously the horse judging contest. I actually competed there my first time with my team from my school, and we actually earned first place for the non reasons as a team, and then I won first place for non reasons as an individual. So we got to walk across the stage and get plaques and everything at state convention. And then the second year that I went to the horse judging for FFA, I received third place, and that was for the reason. So it was kind of neat that I had won with my team, and then I had gotten third in a different category for myself. Yeah, FFA is great, though. I think every student should be enrolled in FFA, whether you are going into something ag related or not. That's kind of the big thing with FFA nowadays. I feel like you don't necessarily have to, live on a farm or want to live on a farm in the future or anything ag related. You can just be an FFA. It doesn't necessarily mean ag. There's so many different things like, welding. That's an FFA thing you can do, CDEs with welding and whatever. That's not necessarily ag related. There's like different CDEs, like I said, that aren't ag related. So it's nice to pull those more city kids into FFA to make them feel welcome too, because it's not just an ag based organization.
Cool. Do you have any passion for the agricultural in the future?
Sorry, can you
Cool.
repeat this
Do you
question,
have any
Caesar?
passion for the agricultural in the future?
Oh, yes. Do I have passion? Yes. So, I've been showing horses all my life. So that is ag, obviously, and I will keep showing horses in my future. I actually give equestrian and riding lessons, and I have been for 5 years. So I will pursue that as well. Um, my real estate future, I will sell ranches and farms rather than townhomes and in the city. So that's kind of my future with FFA as well. I mean, I grew up on a farm and I would like to, keep in revolving around like that farm community as I move out and, move and be my own person, I guess.
Good to hear that. Do you have any favorite thing in W.I.T.Y?
Yes, I would say probably the traveling. Like, because it's not just all office work, we get to go to these different, FFA events or 4-H events and agriculture events and interview different people. So I think that would probably be my favorite part is because then we're not all just, here at this station and in the offices. We're outside. We're with the FFA people. We're with the 4-H and the ag people. So that I would say would be my favorite part, being outside and with everyone, getting to travel.
Of course. We are talking about the commodities markets and counting on the trade barriers for right now. Otherwise, what's your favorite topic of the industry?
I mean, just animals, I guess. I have a passion for animals. Like I said, horses, that's my passion, that's my hobby, it's my job. Like that's what I do. So I guess I would say um animals.
What is your final thoughts about this farm economy for right now?
It could be a lot better. For one thing, I wish more city people would realize the the behind the scenes of the food that they eat. Like they don't just purchase it from a store. It comes from people working days and nights to prepare that food, grow that food and put it in the stores for you to eat. So I guess I would wish that more people, more city people per se, would kind of understand the behind the scenes of, I guess, food.
Yeah, that's true because agriculture is basic principles of human beings.
Right. Yep. You got it, Caesar.
Thanks, Jesse. I enjoyed our conversation for today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It's a real honor to be a part of your Backroads of America. Backroads of
This is
Illinois.
Caesar Delgado with jessilny from W.I.T.Y in Danville, Illinois.